Hi, I'm Alex Dunn, and in this quick tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create different control profiles for different types of mouse click actions, things like clicking, double clicking, right clicking, and middle clicking, using different types of controls like voice controls by being able to say things like click or double click, or by mapping different face expressions too. There's an expectation if you're looking at this tutorial that you've already learned a little bit more about what control profiles are and how to use things like voice controls and expression controls. So if you're not ready yet, be sure to check out those tutorials first. To get started, I'm going to go in and click to create a new control profile, and I'm going to scroll down to the Start from Scratch option here. There's a switch here that says include default voice commands or keys and keys and mouse clicks. With this turned on, if I go ahead and create new, there's no default controls added in this list, but if I go to advanced options and then to edit keys and buttons, you'll see that we have mouse button 1, 2, and 3 for left click, right click, and middle click. And if I expand these, we'll see that we have default voice commands already added. So I can say click, I can say right click, and I can say middle click. The exception to this right click one is if you're on an older version of the Cephable app before this issue is fixed, then there's also potentially a conflict with the voice command with the right arrow key. So if we go down to right arrow key, because there's a default command for right, therefore, if you say right click, it might hit the right arrow key first. You can change this, for example, by just setting right arrow as your default voice command. And now you've got right arrow and right click as two different commands, so you can say either one. So just a sort of little note to keep in mind. If I go back though, and I'll leave this without saving, and instead go to create from scratch without the default options on, and then go into my advanced options, we'll notice that there's no default controls here. So there's no click, right click, or middle click voice controls added. You can add them here, of course, but what we recommend doing is going back and actually creating it as a control. So let's add click, double click, and right click as different options. So I'll go in here and add a voice command for click, and then I'll choose that I want to press a key or button. And then I can see in the key and button list, mouse button 1 is right at the top. That's your standard click. So now if I hit finish, we can see if I say click, then Cephable will press the mouse button. Let's add right click as well. So I'll go in here and add another voice control, type right click, go ahead and press buttons, select from my list to right click, and hit finish, and now I've got both of them. And again, because there was no default controls added, this also means that the right arrow key conflict doesn't exist here either, because there's no default control for that. But now let's do something different for double click, because we actually need to do something in sequence. So I'm going to add a new control again, and add a voice control, and type double click. Click next, and I want to do multiple things. You could of course start from pressing a key or button and then add another step. Let's go ahead and do 2 steps. So we see when we choose multiple things, there's 2 steps here, and I can choose for the default. I still want to keep this key and button press. I'm going to choose left click. And then for the second step, I'm just going to choose left click again. And so when I have this control set up for double click, we'll notice that over here on the icon indicators that it's going to click twice, and here that we'll click the mouse button and then click it again. So now I can say double click, right click, or click in order to trigger these. I can also come in here and add other controls too. So if, again, I wanted to add like mouth opening as a click or as a double click, then I can go in and select open your mouth for double click. And then maybe for regular click, I want to add the voice command for left click. So I can say left click. And then I can also go in and add a expression control here too, like raising your eyebrows. Great. So now we've got this set up. I can go ahead and call this mouse button samples and click save and finish. And if I now select my profile for mouse button samples, I can start my voice controls and do things like say click, right click, and double click. And that's as easy as that. Now you've got a control profile set up so that you can do these different types of mouse button inputs using your different controls like a voice command or an expression control too. Make sure to check out the other tutorials on more advanced profile editing and also some of the other use cases as well. And join our Discord and Facebook in order to let us know what other types of tutorials you'd look for and also what types of use cases you're using Cephable for, so we can go ahead and pre-create these types of controls as well. Thanks for watching.